Here we're going to tie a fly called the Big Bear Emerger. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start my thread. I'm going to take my thread all the way back down to the bend of the hook. I'm actually going to lay down another base of thread. The reason I'm doing this is the body of this fly is only thread. So I like to do a couple layers just to build up some color, because the thread of this fly will be the color of the body. There we go. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to tie in our tails, which is also the casing of this fly. It's both. For that I'm going to use pheasant tail, and for this size, this is like an 18 or 20 or so, so I'm going to use about 6-7 strands of pheasant tail. The larger the fly, the more you can use. The smaller the fly, the fewer that you use. And I try to line up those tips as even as I can get them. And you want that tail length to be about half the length of the body, so I just kind of roughly measure it out. And at the back here, I'm going to lay down 2 wraps. I'm going to take my thread, I'm going to go forward a couple of wraps, and I'm going to lash down the pheasant tail with the wrap. I'm going to go forward a couple wraps, do the same thing, lash it down, do the same thing. You should have about 3 pieces of pheasant tail on there. Just like so. And then you can trim out the excess of the pheasant tail. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to build up a little bit of a thorax here. For that, I'm going to use a tiny bit of dubbing. I just match the color of the thread, which is kind of a yellowy color. I'm going to use some Superfine dubbing, a nice fine dubbing. That way I can dub a nice tight thorax. And then I'm going to tie in just a little bit of Antron. You can actually do this before you did the dubbing, but I like to just build up a little bit of a base here. Add a little bit more dubbing. There we go. I'm going to take that Antron, just pull it right over the top of the fly. I'm going to take a couple fibers of Antron. Going to split this stuff up here. Take a small clump of half a dozen or so. Split it to the side. Do that on the other side. Those will be the legs of the fly. You can whip finish it. Then you can trim the legs to length. I usually like the legs to be just a hair longer than the casing. And that's all there is to the Big Bear Emerger. Very simple, easy fly to tie, very slender. That's to imitate the small mayfly nymphs. Very slim profile. Works very well in tailwaters on western fish.